Hi there, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Craig?
Good. A student just brought me a very exciting result, so
Oh, that's fun.
that's always fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. How many students do you have working at you under you right now?
Three grads and three undergrads, but I have two postdocs lined up coming, and I'm trying to recruit two more.
Wow, that's a big group. It's a lot to manage.
It's the biggest my group will ever be. When it gets to that, it'll be the
Yeah.
biggest it's ever been.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm,
Who knew?
I know. Do you like it? Do you like that, like managing the students and doing that, or is it kind of more pain than it's worth?
Oh no, I enjoy working with good students. It's probably the most fun part of the entire job.
Yeah.
Challenge difficult students, maybe not so much. And I
Mm.
had one recently, but she's moved on. So
Yeah.
yeah, right now everybody seems good. My group has a good dynamic. No, I actually find it even more exciting when they get a good result. I mean, I haven't had a result in 30 years because I don't go into the lab much myself,
Right.
but some people say, oh, but I couldn't, I want to be at the bench. And to me, the excitement is saying, well, what happened? I think if we do this, this will happen. I don't have to do the experiment myself. And then they come back all excited, and then that makes you even more excited than you would have been.
Right.
So no, I like working with students.
Mm. Yeah. Well, that's neat too. I mean, it's also kind of your legacy, right? As an educator of
Absolutely.
you
Oh,
know, the
absolutely.
next generation of scientists. There you go.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'm at a stage now where I have a bunch of people out there who are very successful,
Yeah.
and I can take some small amount of pride in their success.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. All right. Well, I'm holding out for when you're going to be mentioned in a Nobel Prize acceptance speech.
yeah, I don't buy any tickets.
Yeah.
Hmm. What's new on your front?
Oh,
Everybody transitioning back to away from online, or back to where they were before, not away completely, but
yeah.
not.
Most schools are completely back in person now. The big thing we're dealing with right now is learning loss.
Oh, right.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Of
Yeah.
These chemistry students who haven't seen a classroom in 2 years, had no high school, chemistry to speak of, never touched a lab,
Yeah.
and then are all of a sudden in organic, and they're like, I don't know what to do.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, it is a problem. You lose momentum
Yeah.
and you forget stuff.
Hello, Jim.
That's just
Hello, Gail. You'd be proud of me, Gail.
How's that?
Well, I just last week I've started a new writing project, and I thought of you. I thought of you immediately, inspired by your work in the past, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, wonderful. I can't wait to see what you come up with.
Well, it'll be interesting. It'll be more novel-like this time.
All right. Well, springtime is the perfect time to start new projects.
Yes, I think so.
There you
I think
go.
so.
Yep. Oh, there comes Steve.
Capital planning isn't going to bump us off the airwaves here, so to speak, is it?
Nope, but the health department is at 7 o'clock. But we'll be done. We'll be done by then, though.
All right.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether the town has two lines or one.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like ours always gets shared, but Wednesday nights are pretty common meeting night.
Yeah. Indeed.
So the Zoom account they have just allows for two simultaneous sessions? Is that
no, none? None. You only with each login, you can only have one session go at a time.
I see. Wow.
Yeah, and I would use my, I have a professional pro account, but
right.
I don't have the recording ability. That's the expensive one, and we have to record the meetings.
Yeah.
So.
How is the capital planning? How are they going to arrange all of this at 5:30?
Well, they must be using a different line than us, because our only conflict that I know of is with the health department.
Yeah, well, I know,
So,
yeah, I remember
yeah.
that from the past, yeah.
Yeah. So
I
unless
should tell you
Grace,
guys,
yeah,
go ahead.
I was just saying, unless Grace made a mistake and has it over assigned, we should be okay till 7.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
So this morning I was in a Zoom meeting at UMass at about 11, and we were just having a hell of a problem. I got kicked off 3 times. Things
Oh,
were
man.
freezing. Later on, it turned out that the entire university had internet troubles for a couple hours, and it was our ISP, apparently. The problem, I don't know who UMass's ISP is, but
well, but Craig, don't they get all their, their connection from Crown Castle, don't they? Aren't they
Yeah, but
connected
they're
to
not-
Crown Castle? Yeah, but
I don't know.
the
I don't know
ISP,
whether you'd have to ask Graham, but
Yeah.
Crown Castle isn't an ISP. They're just
oh,
a
I know that, I
transport.
know that, I know that, but
Right.
I know that, I thought they were drawing their World Wide Web connection from Crown Castle. Graham would know, of course. I think
Graham
he
would
said-
know, yes.
And speaking of Graham,
I might know what.
I was just telling these guys that this morning at about 11 o'clock, the entire campus was having major internet troubles. And I'm told, all I know is they said that it was the campus ISP was having trouble.
The
And so the question was, who's the campus ISP?
Oh, I see what you mean. I once asked that of the guy who runs the architecture, and and it was funny. He initially he said, "Oh, he was a little vague about it," but then he realized that they are the ISP. So they manage their own address space, and therefore they are
But-
their own. They are their
But
own
the
ISP.
email I got, which was from one of our support people, not from IT, said that it was the campus ISP. So
Yeah.
we may manage IP addresses, but then presumably our traffic goes someplace else.
Well, absolutely true.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, and there's multiple connections to the cloud with a couple of major ones, and I think Crown Castle is one of their main.
That's what Jim was just saying.
Yeah. So because I helped put in the connection down by down Tilson railway line, I had to go thousands of feet through. The jungle across the railroad. Crossing the railroad track is actually a complicated thing to do because there's a lot of rules about it. So
I'll bet.
yeah,
Did you
got
go
to be
under?
like, you got to be 50 feet underneath the track or something crazy. So
Oh,
anyway.
wow.
Yeah. So it was a Crown Castle connection. Their main connection is now Crown Castle, but then they've got funny little tie-ins with the Five College. The Five
Right.
College ring as well. So there's a couple of places. So anyhow, that's not the business. That's a distraction, I guess, right? You're back up now, though, are you, Craig?
Yeah. I was telling these guys I was in a Zoom meeting at 11, and all of a sudden we were intermittently freezing, and I got kicked out twice, and I was busy, checking things under my desk, but then I realized they were having troubles too. So
damn right.
All right. Well, we have very stable internet, at least for the
we
moment.
do. I should have
We
just gone
do.
home.
Just
Yeah, gone home. That's right. Gone home.
forget these major state institutions. Go home. Yeah.
Go home to Shutesbury. Yeah.
That's right. All right, first order of business is approving our previous meeting minutes. I believe we have minutes to approve from February 16th. Is that right, Jim?
that is correct.
All right. Can I have a motion?
Motion to
So moved.
the minutes,
Second.
February 16th.
Great. Got a second? All in favor of approving those
Aye.
minutes
Aye.
as submitted? Aye. Wonderful. Okay. Hut report. Anything going on, Graham?
It all looked good when I was there the week ago. Swept it, wasn't too dusty, and I did notice that there'd been, okay, so some changes. I did notice that they have replaced the, remember the jumper they broke when they were doing, so they replaced the short one that was, running, caddy corner, because it was too short to go through the harness. They replaced that properly. But then they've added a new one that's too short, which must be, it looked like it was feeding the splitter that is now the added splitter in the Wyola box. So presumably they will come back with the right length patch cord that will be long enough to go in the to be dressed properly. So.
All right, I'll follow up on that. Tim hasn't mentioned it, so.
Yeah. It runs caddy corner right now. It's not done properly.
Got it.
No. You would think they would have known how long they had to be, because they had to buy the other one that was too short too. But anyhow, whatever. No.
Maybe they used the other short one for the new link. They didn't bring one with them.
I don't know, but they were. I did, looking at the hut record, I could see that they'd been in the hut 3 times. They did the maintenance repair, and then there were 2 other visits when there were a team of them in there, and I guess that was when they were fixing the rundown to the additional service that had to run to the splitter at Lake Wyola. So
yeah. During one of those visits, they actually set off the Simply Safe alarm. And but it was one of the first times that we got to like test. It wasn't one that called the police, but it worked neat. I got notified within 30 seconds. I was watching the tech scramble in the hut and make phone calls and punch things in.
Did you remember the magic word? Did you remember the magic word that cannot be said on Zoom?
I didn't have to do it. He figured it out.
Okay.
The whole drama unfolded over the course of about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So yeah, they're on the ball. Usually when I go in there, Crocker does phone, but sometimes they don't. No.
Yeah.
So, but that's okay. They're reassuring themselves. Simply Safe obviously would know whether there was really a problem. The issue, Crocker couldn't talk to Simply Safe. So
right. Graham, I did ask, speaking of that jumper you were just talking about, about like what happened to the one that failed. And they did not have the proper light testing equipment to know if anything was wrong with it. They only knew that it was not transferring properly. So they had no information about, is it a manufacturer problem? Did someone step on it? What, did it connector get broken or damaged, whatever?
I think it speaks to them being a little light on that side of things, unlike Holyoke Gas and Electric, who could do all these things and do it routinely. So that's what's going on there. We are probably the only place they ever have to stick fiber in anywhere, except for down in the other end of it. So yeah, I'm not surprised that they couldn't check what was wrong, because they don't do it much. So
right. Yep. In other news, we got those power plugs for the UPSs in case they start failing. So we have 15 in inventory. We can get more if needed. I don't know if you caught, but the splitter wasn't installed in the distribution box, like Graham mentioned. So we have another 15 spare ports in the Lake Wyola area for new customers if needed. That'll get us through for another year or 2. Let's see, Steve, no word from Ryan yet on the correction of that the Simply Safe invoice card. It's still not working. I checked today, the invoice still was failing. So I'll just stay on it until it gets fixed.
Okay.
I don't think, they're not going to cancel our service or anything until we're 30 days out. So I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, let me know when you get it, because I'm now I just paid the bills. And now I've got that Verizon pull attachment bill, which normally I wouldn't pay bills for another month, but I can pay that in 2 weeks. So if you have the Simply Safe invoice within a couple of weeks, then makes it a little more worthwhile to submit the payment request.
You got it. Okay. All right. Well, Steve, do you want to keep talking about finances as long as we're discussing them?
Sure, very little to report. Our current enterprise fund balance is 125,283. Of course, in April, there'll be the debt payment of, I think it's 100,000. It's about 100,000. So, the balance is built up, but then that'll knock it back down. So otherwise, everything's running pretty smoothly and
Great. Since we met last, Steve and I met with the finance committee, and special thanks to Steve. He did a great job of presenting our next fiscal year budget. The finance committee was fine with everything. I thought it went really well. And there is one item I'd like to discuss for addition to our budget. And that is about $1,700 for the school. And let me explain why. So the word is out in town that we're switching vendors. And so as it happens, that's fine. But I got a call from Debbie Lee, who's the tech person at Shutesbury Elementary. And every year they apply for E-rate funding. So this is a reimbursement for their managed firewall service, plus all the phone, plus all the internet costs. And you have to apply every year. And so funding for the 22-23 year was submitted in January, and they named Crocker as the provider.
Oh,
Now,
no.
they're ineligible, because now Crocker is no longer going to be the provider coming up. And I had a long talk with Debbie on the phone of like, well, can you just switch the provider? Can you? No. So unfortunately, they're going to lose their E-rate funding for the next year. And I feel badly about this. I just wasn't aware that they did this so early of applying. And so their eligible annual amount is $2,504.40. And so of that, it's $1,753.08 gets reimbursed. So I'd like to put a proposal to all of you to reimburse them for what they would have lost over E-rate, because it is kind of like no fault of their own that we are switching vendors. I told Debbie that I would bring it to the board and ask if this would be a possibility. And it's only 1 year. Next year they will reapply with the correct vendor.
I have a lawyer's perspective.
Okay, bring it on, Greg.
I think it's perfectly fine. Obviously, we can do this. I want to make sure it's not a precedent. I don't want somebody in town who has whatever, and they say, well, your changing made me lose something. You need to reimburse me because you did it for the school.
I think our contract has language that everybody has signed that there is no liability on anything that we screw up.
Yeah, but then their lawyers will come back and say, yes, but you did it for the school despite that. So I think we should do it. We just want to think carefully about this and make sure that we can somehow word it in a way that makes it so that this is not a precedent.
Steve, you look uncomfortable.
Yeah, if for my vote, I would vote down. So I'm sorry, but
For that reason or for another reason?
Well, Craig, what you brought up is interesting because I think, as you probably all know, I have a Crocker email address.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
gonna
right,
lose
it's gonna
money.
cost you. Oh,
It
no.
is. I got this back in the dial-up days. So many people have that address. I continue with it. Janet and I both have one. It's $4 a month, $6 a year. And for these 3 years that we've had Crocker, they waived that charge. I'm back to paying that. It's, I'm not going to say we shouldn't make this change for my benefit, but it's a cost. And
Steve, you should have recused yourself on all the votes about who the next person.
For that $12 a year.
It's $96 a year.
Yeah, right.
$100 a year. Okay,
yeah. But I'm kind of feeling that way about this thing, the school, and it's like the school doesn't have any money. And the town's got all this federal money floating around. It seems hard to believe they couldn't pay this out of that. So I just say, hey, sorry, we made a business decision here where it's better for some people, not as good for others. But the idea that we're going to reimburse the school, you say, the other people that would then come forward, I will not raise my issue with the $96 outside of this little group. But
sure.
But
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, Jim?
I thoroughly agree with Steve on this. If put to a vote, I will vote no. The school has plenty of money and they can easily afford to make up this shortfall themselves. God knows they do.
Question moving forward. Can they put Shutesbury Net as the internet service provider now that we're going to be white labeling?
I asked that, and Debbie seemed to think no.
Okay.
That
Shutesbury Net would then have to apply for something or be certified as something.
Exactly. That you can only be an official federal E-rate provider, and Shutesbury Net is not. So
it might be a trivial piece of paperwork to become that, just out of interest.
Or not. It might be a very complex.
It might not be. No,
there is. No
I have a feeling it is not.
No trivial bureaucracy out there. Yeah, there's ILEX and LOLEX and all these. There's so much framework around the bureaucratic stuff in communications. So, I guess. I certainly don't feel strongly that they should be reimbursed because it'll just put it on one of the things they should put on their calendar that that before they fill in every year the same thing, that they should check because it could change any time, and they need to know that they should be checking. So.
Yeah, going forward, this is the only time that this is going to be a miss, I hope. Because now we know about it.
Now they know about it.
Yes. Yeah. The collective, we know about it. All right. Well, just to make it official. So, I'd like to put the proposal to the board to vote on refunding the Shutesbury Elementary School for $1,753.08 for the lost E-rate funding because of the switched vendor. And what say ye, board?
But do we have a second for that?
Second.
Mm-hmm.
Nay, I'll go with the nays.
All right. Nay from Graham. Steve?
Nay.
Jim?
Hemingway, nay.
Are you allowed to second it and nay it?
Good. I'm sure you can. Yeah.
I'm not sure what the rule book says on that one.
No,
you can. No, you definitely can. There's no.
You can.
Seconding
Okay,
it doesn't mean you agree.
Put a motion. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No.
All right. Thank you. I'll let the school know.
Tell them
Okay.
we were worried about precedents.
Yep, I will. So the end date, let's see, end date for the, our switch is going to be July 31st. I can't remember if I mentioned this at our last meeting or not. It is not June 15th, which is technically the end of our contract. We had a little bit of a legal snafu where June 15th was the contract termination date, but there is some language in the contract that said June 15th and the start of service to subscribers, but we didn't have any subscribers hooked up till the end of June. We got our first 2 subscribers on like June 25th and 26th. So Matt pushed.
Who are they, Gail?
They were the library and me.
Yeah.
So and then we got like another 15 over the next couple of weeks. And anyway, they just started rolling in. So anyway, Matt's agreed to that. And we couldn't do July 15th because it would be a billing nightmare to have to do a partial month and then start with a new company. So anyway, Crocker's getting, another few weeks of this, which is fine. It's also good because there's something going on at Sheld right now where Bobby Liswell, who's the general manager at Sheld, his wife died a week ago. So he's on leave of absence right now. I'm still working with Sean Fitzgerald on the contract, but I have not been able to make any headway on our transition plan. It's okay. We have plenty of time, especially now since the date is end of July. So I'm just going to focus on the draft of our intergovernmental agreement. I've done my part. It's in the hands of Sheld right now. I've asked Don about a couple of issues, and question for all of you is, once we kind of get towards the more final draft, do you all want a chance to read it and add edits, questions? I'm assuming yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Okay, great. So I'll, once we get a little bit farther down the road and Sheld has their crack at it, I'll put it on our, I think I'll probably put it up in a Google Doc so we can all write, kind of suggestions and comments on it. So anyway, the transition plan is not going on the schedule that I hoped it would, but it's not a problem. It just means that'll be kind of April's task. I want to start messaging our customers in May, kind of mid to late May. So just start the messaging. It'll continue for the next couple of months after that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Couple more things I was thinking about now in finance, but I didn't want to interrupt if you were still on your.
Oh, no, please. Yeah. What else do we have
Okay.
in finance?
Gail mentioned the meeting with the finance committee, and there were only really 2 questions that came up about budget. One of which was it was noted that the pay for the general manager was about doubled, and people wanted an explanation. The person asked for an explanation, which we offered them, and they accepted. Gail, I'm curious, and then it was going to the personnel board. Did Gail, have you heard anything from either the personnel board or the select board?
I have not.
I would take that as assent, and I feel we'll just continue to go ahead, that this is what we're doing.
I assume so. Yeah. That all's well in that. Yeah.
Okay, the only other question was about why the every year we appropriate all this money for pole attachment fees and we only spend a fraction of that. And I explained it's because we never gotten a bill from National Grid for the pole attachment fees. Told us what the fee theoretically is, so we put that in our budget every year. But that was about it for questions, I think.
Yeah, I think they're getting used to seeing our budget, understand it, and most importantly, understand that it doesn't affect their bottom line, so they don't care so much.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One other thing I was thinking about, it's financial, but with the transition to Shell, and the fact that we are going to be white labeling this, the bills will be now from Shutesbury Net for your internet service. Of course, there's two major components to the total customer bill. There's the MLP fee, and then there is the ISP and telephone fees. And that's never been broken out on the bills that we get that are have been sent by Crocker. Do we want to think about having that broken out in the bill? Is there a benefit?
I don't think so. I'd like to keep them together. Most lay people don't understand the division. I think it's just one more confusing thing on your bill. And also it kind of removes the point of white labeling of like, separate charges and saying like, oh, this is the ISP charge and this is the MLP charge of just keeping it combined is simpler for anybody. And does anybody really care at the end? You just have to pay your bill.
Got to pay it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't advocating for this at all. It's just something that occurred to me that, we could do what we wanted to, but I'm fine the way it is. So.
Yeah. The only line items I want to see on there is a couple bucks for necessary taxes. But nothing else to confuse people on that one.
Okay.
On the delay of the new contract kicking in on July 31st, that would suggest that the school actually will be correct for 1/12 of their service thing, right? What did you call it? The E whatever?
E-rate.
Their E-rate for,
Yeah.
so they should definitely get that benefit for the first month.
And Crocker is, as of the start of the fiscal year, Crocker is their ISP.
Yes, and in fact, I was going to say that if one just applied on that basis, you don't have to. It sounds like you don't have to update the process for another year. It seems like if it starts off the year like that, no one's going to come along and say gotcha. Seriously, you might want to look into that. Or Deb, did you say Debbie? Is that the secretary?
Yeah.
That she should look into that, because it may only matter what's happening the first week of the E-rate year, and that if anything changes, well, you change it next year. So push that one.
Yeah, I'll check on that if that helps her out in this way, that we're having a delayed vendor switch to start off the year.
She's good for the first month, at least 1/12 of it.
Yeah. It just occurs to me also that the cost that Shutesbury Net is charging is only a portion of this, right? Like they're not paying us over $2,000 a year. They're paying $75 a month, just like everybody else.
I didn't know the detail. Yeah, they're just got one service, I think.
So I think a majority of this is for that managed firewall, and I'm going to suggest that she still go after that part. Crocker's still their ISP for the managed firewall.
Yeah, good
part.
point. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, really? Oh,
whoever is managing that,
right?
Absolutely
right?
true. Yeah. That's what they're getting that's what they're getting the discount on. You're right. Yeah,
that's
because it's not on us. We're dirt cheap.
Crocker has been operating their internet service long before we provided it.
Yeah, their phone system.
Yeah, and they.
Right. And so I'm thinking the majority of that has got to be the firewall. Maybe a lot of phone costs in there, because I know they have multiple lines.
Yeah,
but they also have a I don't know if they only have a couple lines going to the school and then it reverts to like one of those PBX systems.
Yeah, but they're paying a bunch of money to Crocker, and they will continue to pay. Debbie may not realize that she's probably going to continue to be paying that, because Crocker is going to continue to run that equipment.
They only have one line from us. We get $52 a month from the school for service we provide.
Good, yeah, good point. So anything above and beyond that is an ISP charge, which all still resides with Crocker. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see if she can do anything with that.
Ask her exactly what she pays every month to who.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. No, I take this back. I don't think that's true. I think that their internal phone system may be shelled after the switch because right now they're paying, what is it, $14.99 or whatever for every additional phone line, but that's not going to be Crocker after July. Shelled is going to be, so that's not true. That their provider for the phone is going to switch to shelled.
But managing the firewall is something that someone will have to manage, and that doesn't necessarily change. You could get that service from anyone. Right.
And it actually, Debbie said that after this year, they're going to get a not unmanaged, but like a cloud managed solution so that they can stop paying these expensive firewall management rates.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other business that we need to discuss? Short meeting today.
Yeah, even though Bobby is out for a couple of weeks, we could still go down and visit the facility. I'm sure Sean Fitzgerald would show us their part, and then we can get the loaner U6s and U4s, the GigaSpire Wi-Fi routers. Yeah, the routers, the GigaSpire routers that they've offered to lend us for 3 months, and we could all try a router if we wanted. I would be very inclined, yeah. So I assume some other people here would want to go down and visit.
Yeah.
And if Gail, in setting that up, you doodle polled them, Sean, and maybe even Holyoke Gas and Electric, because they're in the same vicinity. There may not be much to see in Shell's network thing because their network operator is Holyoke. So yeah, you could ask that question.
Yeah, absolutely. Not going to be able to set it up till April, but I'll keep working on that of getting us down there. Graham, if you really want those GigaSpires sooner,
drive down there.
Yeah. I'd say just go ahead and get it, but I will stay on getting us a tour date.
All right, I'll scoot down and get them sometime.
Okay. Anything else?
Let's see, we're meeting again in April.
April 20th.
So we'll be what?
April 20th.
Town meeting is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. In fact, we have 2 meetings before town meeting because the town meeting is late this year on the 21st of May.
Okay.
Yep.
And our next meeting date is
April 20th.
20th. Okay.
Yep.
And yesterday I was inaugurated in the Energy and Climate Action Committee of the town with 5 other people. So if any of you have ideas for ultimately, I think, somehow or other, Shutesbury will get into MLP, energy, power, somewhere or other on land that is approved by everybody. But anyhow, if anyone's got any ideas or has 20 acres they want to that doesn't have any wetlands or and it's fairly flat, then draw my attention to it.
So this committee is charged with developing a revenue stream?
This committee
generating-
is trying to work out how to get Shutesbury to survive climate change. So it's a broad it's a
Okay.
broad mandate, but
Okay, good.
and yeah, so balancing our carbon footprint would be a good first start. So
Graham,
Doing more than that would be a good start too.
Jim, you look like you're having a
You're
spiritual
stepping into the
experience.
light.
Yeah.
I know the sun is directly behind me.
Yeah.
Directly.
Graham, well, I'm sure we'll talk about this again. Have you, has your committee that is forming thought about contacting Gail, or is it Lisa Brown? You know, I mentioned this.
We haven't thought about anything yet because we will be soon having our first meeting. But you can call me up and tell me anyone that I should. You could definitely share
Yeah.
off of the MLP bandwidth.
I have a sort of a relationship with her, and I would be, you know, I'd be willing to speak to her.
Yeah, okay.
It might, yeah, just let me know.
Let's definitely talk on the back channel on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back channel it is.
Yeah. Oh, and I did. One of my neighbors had a network problem, a phone problem. But then when he was also having a logging in on the computer problem, and I looked at his Dell computer, and it's the first time I've ever seen 100% of his memory was occupied. It just filled up with stuff, and so
Yeah.
his internet problem was actually a memory problem.
Not an uncommon problem, I might add, having serviced quite a few computers in my day.
Yeah, okay,
People just don't realize that the hard drive or whatever, or the SSD has limited amount of space.
Yeah. So anyhow, I've suggested things that he could throw away. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, other tech support issue. Jim, you let me know about
Yeah.
Melody's weird phone problem. Crocker's still working on that.
Yes, I
No
noticed the email
Yeah, no
today.
conclusion.
Yeah.
So
And on the monthly trouble tickets, there were very few. Once again, the Calyx system is doing very, very well, is what you could figure. There are a couple of routine administrative things, you know, people changing their service up or down, you know, and there were a couple of people with internet questions or slow internet, hardly anyone. There might have been a drop that got knocked down or two, and there was, you know, it's an easy business to manage Shutesbury's problems. So
Good.
yeah. I hope it continues. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right then. There's nothing else, then I will talk to you guys next month, and I'm sure we'll exchange emails before then. So take care, enjoy the spring,
Motion
enjoy
to
the
adjourn.
crocuses, daffodils, all good.
Yeah.
The snowdrops, you know, the snowdrops have appeared, at least at my place here. So,
Oh, very nice.
so there is some sign of spring coming.
Great.
It's-
We're going down to Washington for the cherry blossoms this weekend.
Oh,
wow, you
treat.
are.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's exciting.
Mm.
Very cool.
Taking the
Okay,
train.
bye-bye, everyone.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.